questions. This one came from our solicitation ahead of time. It is the LNG plant. One of the most fractious issues of the past several years. This is 1 minute, by the way, 1 minute answer. Those opposed to the plant believe there are still maneuvers available to stop it. Others believe it's a done deal. Where do you stand on the issue? And if you're against it, what action is available to you as a city council member? Beginning with position 8, John Love.
I'm an environmental scientist, environmental chemist, and an environmental engineer, so I understand that when you mine fossil fuels out of the ground and burn them, you create CO2, which causes global warming. And that is a fact. I've probably spent too much time at the doors debating with climate science deniers about that. So I do not, our societal dependence on fossil fuels is not sustainable, so I do not support the LNG plant. I think as far as the process that it has gone through, I think it is working through. There's been a lot of lessons learned on the fact that the city's public notification process needs to produce an informed public, and that is not working. And so that'll be one of the first things that I work on as a city council member, is improving that process so that people see it coming and that robust debate happens before construction is already completed.
So I do believe that we need to move away from fossil fuels. I've dedicated my career and personally worked towards moving our transportation away from fossil fuels. On this particular project, I think I need to trust the process and trust the people that are doing the work. I don't think it's the job of city council to come in partway through a project and change the course or change the rules. I think it's really important to people that your city council is really consistent. So I am not against this project as it stands right now. I am really committed to working on the Tide Flats sub-area plan. I think that's really important, and I think that's where you want your city council to be looking forward, talking to people, making sure everyone's at the table as we create that vision. And that's about getting jobs here in Tacoma. That's about being innovative. That's about being green. That's about moving ourselves away from fossil fuels, but really doing it together as a community and making that plan happen so that we have a vision going forward and that we have a better process next time.
When it comes to the LNG storage facility down on the Tide Flats, I view it completely as a local air quality issue. And the narrative there is, are we going to burn dirty bunker fuel, or are we going to burn methane for these ships to propel in and out of our port down here? And I side with the burning of the methane for a couple of reasons. One, my son, who I aforementioned, reminds me every year on the 9th of September that he missed his 4th birthday because he was at Mary Ridge due to having difficulty breathing from an asthma attack. And we've had to spend nearly 2 weeks of his life during those early stages dealing with that. 2, it's an equity issue. The comparable me that lives on the east side and south end of Tacoma will live up to 17 years less due to poor air quality and other situations there. And then finally, with the transportation of the methane, as far as like upline, there's a lot of work to be done there, and I'm willing to work with our federal elected officials to deal on those leaks.
I would have to, at this point in time, I agree with Councilor Kristina Walker about needing to trust the process at this point in time with how LNG has come to where it's at, say, with the storage facility. I don't feel like it's my place to step into a process that was articulated beforehand and is going through. What I would say is that going back to my intro, the next 4 years we have a significant impact, the next 4 decades in Tacoma. The sub-area plan for the Tide Flats, that's the thing I keep trying to encourage when I talk to voters at the door. Hey, what do you want the future of Tacoma to look like? What do you want the future of the Tide Flats to look like? How do we carve out that green future for the city of Tacoma? How do we reduce the carbon footprint? And the sub-area plan, bringing everybody in from the city of Puyallup, Port Tacoma, to do Powell Tribe Indians, is going to be a good step forward. And I think focusing on that process of how we move the city forward in a positive direction is where I want to stick my energy when I get onto the council. Thank you.
Well, I've said it from the beginning that I'm 100% against the LNG plant, and I understand that the construction has proceeded for years, and I don't think it is a done deal, given the fact that they have proceeded with construction without the proper permits. And I do believe that this is an issue that the city council is responsible for, especially when it comes to the health of the people in the city and the future of the city when it comes to providing a bright future for the children of Tacoma. The LNG plant is being built on tribal land against the tribal wishes. If this is a stepper fuel, I'd like to see the city be more transparent with a strategic plan that lays out when we'll be moving away from this stepper fuel. I believe that the city needs to do a better job of oversight of this construction plan and keep the people of the community more informed of what's going on.
So this is a very interesting conversation. I just want to remind everybody that 4 years ago, when people talked about the LNG plant, it was pushed out as a transitional fuel. It was promoted as being better than what is currently being used, which is diesel fossil fuel. And people from the environmental community in Tacoma and all through Washington State was supportive of this project. And then we get research in the middle of the project that says, hold up, wait a minute, this is not the best thing. It's still perhaps better, but it's still very bad. That's a really tough situation to put elected officials in, particularly one who was not even in office when the project began. So here we are now, in a situation where people are asking us to stop a project where permits have been given out to Puget Sound Energy. I don't understand what people say is being built without permits. When you do a project, you don't get every permit from the start of the project. You start the project, you do some work, then you constantly go back to different agencies for the permits that are necessary. So I just wanted to put that out there that whatever's been built has been permitted to be built. So where I stand is...
Finish your thought, please.
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to where I'm at now, we have to go through the process. If we don't, the city of Tacoma is legally liable. We cannot target one organization because people are upset. So we have to go through the administrative process, and as a council member, I do not have the authority to stop this project.
Yeah, so I just start with process. You know, the lawyers at the city have told us the same thing for 3 years, which is that we cannot require an SEIS, that we have no lawful basis for it for some of the reasons that Keith just mentioned. So we are in the middle of the process, and the city's position has been that it cannot do anything different at this moment in time. Later on, should additional improvements of the facility be made that have allegedly been represented, then we could require an SEIS. That's the official legal position. As an elected official and someone who tries to represent everybody in this community, I would tell you, if I thought this project was unsafe for the community, I would completely ignore that legal counsel. And I know my colleagues would too. But we've spent years working with our fire chief, commissioned a fire safety review that said it's safe. We've heard from the cleaner agency that this is better than the alternative. This is better than burning bunker fuel. Cleaner for the air, and it's safe. It's not perfect. It's a transition to the future, albeit not perfect.
How do you stop it? By any means necessary. But we have to, because we have until 2030 not to transition, but to be done with our transition, and we have to be started within 2 years. This is a no-go for me, and there is no legal excuses. I do think it's dangerous for our community, so I will ignore that legal counsel, and I will ask for SEIS. I will review the permits, the business license, anything I can. I will stand at the picket lines like I have been doing. I will stand with the Puyallup tribe, and I won't take no for an answer, because this is one of the most destructive things we have going on to Tacoma right now, and it's right next to an immigration detention center, which is also morally objectable, and with no escape route planned in case of emergency at the LNG facility. This building has been built with lies, and I will not stand for it.